like we've talked about, we are going to use this grid method to do our self-portraits. Ooh, fancy, fancy. So, before we can learn how to grid on our own pictures and turn them into masterpieces, it is not impossible if we use the grid method. So, everybody has got this piece of paper, and I want you to start out with that ruler, all right? We're going to start on step 1 on the 1.5 inch square. Okay. So, step 1, use a ruler to draw 1/2 inch tick marks around all 4 edges of the 1.5 inch square. So, I'm going to take my ruler, and we're familiar with using 1/4 inch tick marks, right? Because we've been using that on our 1-point perspective. So, I want to make sure this time that I am using the 1/2 inch mark. So, if this is 0 and this is 1, the 1/2 inch is going to be the tallest line in between those numbers. So I'm just going to mark that for myself with a Sharpie. So I remember that that's my 1/2 inch mark. That's where I want to make all of my tick marks. So using this ruler, we're going to draw 1/2 inch tick marks around all 4 edges of the square. So I'm going to line up with the edge right here. I'm going to start at 0. Not on the edge of the ruler. I'm going to start at 0. I'm going to make sure that that's nice and really straight, lined up with the top of that square. Now I'm going to do a tick mark right up here at the top at the 1/2 inch. So tick marks. We're going lightly. It's not a dark little circle that we're putting on there. We're going to do a very light little tick, just like that. Now, we got room for another 1/2 inch over here. So if this is 1/2, there's another 1/2 inch at the 1 inch mark. So I'm going to make a tick mark at the 1 inch mark. Little tick right at the top. So you can either do a 1/2 inch at the tick mark, at a tick mark at the 1/2 inch, at a tick mark at the 1, or if you can keep your ruler straight, you would start at the 0 inch mark, make one at the 1/2 inch again, okay? Everyone clear on that? No. No?
Oh, no,
All right. Now I'm going to flip that around. We need to make 2 tick marks on this edge too. So I'm lining up with the top of my square at the 0 inch mark. And the 1.5 inch line is lined up at the bottom. That way I can make sure it's perfectly straight. Now at the 1/2 inch mark, tick, just right there. And then I need another 1/2 inch tick mark. I'm going to line up the 0 with the 1/2 inch. Make a little tick right there too. All right, so we should all have 4 tick marks on our squares. Now, take my ruler, go to the bottom edge. Am I going to start with the edge of the ruler, or am I going to start at the 0?
0.
At the 0, yes. So I'm going to line up right here at that 1/2 inch mark that we've highlighted. Just a little tick mark, tick, just like that.
Hi there, can I borrow one of your students?
Yeah.
A God,
And then another tick mark right here at the 1 inch mark. Tick right there. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3 sides done. We gotta do the 4th side right here. So I'm gonna line up that ruler perfectly in line, starting from 0 inches on this side, and at the 1/2 inch mark, little tick, right? Little tick. This part's very important because you want all of your tick marks to consistently be at the same spot. So when we draw our grid, we can have it on this side and copy the drawing exactly. Now at our 1 inch mark, tick mark right there. All right, how many tick marks do we all have?
8.
8, yes, fantastic. Now once you have that, we're gonna take that ruler and do step 2. Connect tick marks to create vertical and horizontal straight lines. So my vertical line, I'm gonna start up here, and I wanna line that up. I'm gonna make sure that my 0 inch and the 1.5 inch mark that are down here, because the square is 1.5 inches. I wanna make sure that those are lined up, because then I'll know that I'm going in a straight line. And then very lightly with the pencil, so lightly, just gonna make a guideline right there. Always important to draw lightly. Once you got that on there, slide on over to the other vertical line. And lightly connect those. So I've got 2 vertical lines, straight vertical lines. Now I'm going to do the same down here, just connecting those tick marks in a straight line. Okay. So, how many squares did we end up with in the 1.5 inch square? 9, yeah. All right. Good. Remember to practice drawing lightly on these. Because when we're doing our portraits, we're going to want to erase these later, right? You don't want to have that grid just hanging there. Good. Very good. All right. Now, well done, everybody. So now we're going to slide on over to the 3-inch square. Woohoo! Thank you for your enthusiasm. I gotta fix something on here. Very embarrassing. So I want everyone to fix this on their paper where it says 1/2 inch tick marks on step 3. This is just gonna be 1 inch tick marks. Fix that on your paper. That's not bad. So on the 3-inch square, we're going to use our ruler to draw 1 inch tick marks around all 4 edges of the square. So this time I'm going to take my ruler, I'm lined up at the 0 and the 3-inch. That's going to let me know that I'm straight, just like that, rather than going like this, and ending up with tick marks that are messy. So I'm lined up on the 0 and the 3-inch. From 0 to 1, I'm going to put a tick mark right up here. Tick! And then again right here at the 2-inch mark. Tick right there. So we need all 4 edges of this square with tick marks. So coming around on the side right here, lining it up. My 0 is up here, the 3 is up here, so I know I'm perfectly parallel. And at the 1 inch mark, tick, just like that. And at the 2 inch mark, tick right there. All right, 2 more edges of the square to do. So, like before, do I start at the edge of the ruler or at the 0 inch mark?
0.
0, yes, at the 0. So lined up at the 1 inch tick and at the 2 inch mark. Tick, just like that. And keep making that weird noise until you guys never forget to do tick marks ever again. Because I can't. Okay, 1 more edge on this square. So at the 1 inch mark, tick right there. And at the 2 inch, tick, just like that. Can somebody read step 4 for me? Raise your hand, I'll call on you. Anyone want to read step 4? You can only volunteer yourself. There's no pointing at others.
We can reverse this part too.
I didn't hear it over there.
Must pick up horizontal.
Angel's right. Connect our tick marks to create vertical and horizontal straight lines. So just like before, I'm going to hold that perfectly parallel to my tick marks and create a straight vertical line lightly. Make sure you are lightly drawing that line. And you can do that between these 2 tick marks. Straight parallel line. Is this right now? Okay, once you got those 2 vertical lines, twist it around and 2 horizontal straight lines. There, drawing lightly as always, and down here. How many squares do you see in our grid? 9, yes. Just the same as our 1.5 inch square. Fantastic. So everybody's square should look like this now. All right, look over, check your neighbor. Do they have 9 squares in their grid? Yes, yes. All right, great job, everybody. So we should have 9 squares in each grid. Now, once we all have a perfect grid like this, step 5, flip your paper upside down. Do, 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 do. All the way, upside down. Just like that. Everybody flipping their paper upside down. So now we're going to use the grid that we drew on the first square to tell us where our line intersects on the 3-inch square. Okay? So what I'm going to do, and everybody needs to have their paper flipped upside down. If your neighbor's paper is not upside down, tell them you're going to do that now. All right? Very important. So, first of all, I'm going to focus on this circular line that's coming all the way around. I'm going to focus on that first. Everyone sees that on their screen. You don't have to highlight it. You can if you want to take notes on this. So I'm looking at this first. And I want to look at all the places that this line is crossing over my grid. Okay? So if I'm starting here, first point I see is right there. All right? And so we're going to use this as a guide to put tick marks on our grid now. So if I'm looking at this intersection right here, looks like it's not quite halfway down on this little line. It's about 1/3 of the way down. So on this side right here, I'm going to make a tick mark about 1/3 of the way between this edge and this edge. So just a little tick mark, still going lightly. All right. Now that line keeps curving over, and I notice it's intersecting again right here. So looking at that, looking at the square, it's also about 1/3 of the way from this edge to this line. So it's just not quite halfway, just about 1/3 of the way on this little line. So I'm going to make a tick mark right here. Not quite halfway between this line and this. Right about there. Questions about that? Feeling good? Let me move my mouse. Okay, so I'm following that line and I see right here intersecting again. So I'm going to follow that. Looks like it's about at the same spot on this line, just down here. So I'm going to copy that on a tick mark right there. Okay, 3 down, and as I follow that, looks like it's crossing right here. This one, not quite halfway, but almost through from this to this, so a little less than halfway. And I'm going to make my tick mark right there. Still just following that line. It's right here, intersecting on this line. These look like they're about the same kind of height from here to here. So I'm going to make another tick mark right there. Tick, always tick marks. Just lightly so we can fix them later if we need to. Now one more spot right here. About halfway between this edge and this edge. So this little guy, I'm going to make a tick mark right there. All right, so hold up how many tick marks you have in your drawing so far. How many? I can see. I see 6. Is that 10? Oh my. Should all have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 so far. Okay? 6. All right, now, since I have that done, I'm gonna take a look at the inside now. So, going here, here, and around here, I see this intersection right there on this line. Everybody see that?